I'm joined here at the desk by David Ignatius and Chris Cillizza. Good to see you both.
Hello.
So, the question is, what do you make of the speech? David, why don't you start us off?
Well, I thought it was, for inaugural speeches, kind of flat. I thought this was not the president's finest exercise of his rhetorical gifts. I didn't think it was as good a speech as his first inaugural address, and even that one was not one of the greats. I thought it had more the ring of a campaign speech. Ed said just now, State of the Union speech. He was enumerating specific things he supports. He spoke about his commitment to Social Security and Medicare. Translation, don't think that I'm easily going to compromise on these entitlement programs in the budget negotiations. He talked about gay rights. I don't know that that's ever been mentioned specifically in an inaugural address. I thought that was interesting and important. In the issues that deal with foreign policy, the president made general statements about our era of wars ending, about our being now the heirs of the peacemakers. He reaffirmed our commitments internationally, but he said nothing about the crises that exist. You would not know that there's a war going on in Syria that has killed 60,000 people, where the United States has no discernible policy from the speech that the president just gave to start his second term. And I could go down a list of major international problems. So in that sense, I thought it was a pretty formulaic, pretty partisan, focused on his side of the aisle, and not a very clear guide to where he's going.
Chris, it was a domestic speech, as David says. It also was a progressive speech. He made the case for the American left.
Very much so. I'm going to write something later that this speech was the Barack Obama that many liberal Democrats thought they were electing in 2008 and wound up not getting as much of. Gay rights, voting rights, climate change, as David mentioned, kind of a rejection of the nation of takers idea that Republicans have put forward when it comes to Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. An appointed speech at times. Circle, we cannot mistake absolutism for principle or substitute spectacle for politics or treat name-calling as reasoned debate. He might as well have said, yes, Republicans, I am talking to you, right after that line, or yes, Tea Party, I am talking to you. It was a sort of remarkably progressive speech. I'm with David to an extent. There were moments when he soared rhetorically, just as it guided our forebears through Seneca Falls and Selma and Stonewall, just as it guided all the women and men unsung who left footprints along this great mall. There were moments of that. But I thought the mention of climate change felt a little kind of out of the blue. Got a big applause line. The voting rights felt a little bit out of the blue. I think this is kind of Barack Obama. I said, I put on Twitter, this is a speech a president gives when he doesn't have to worry about getting reelected. And I think that is my immediate take from it. If you want one paragraph to sum up the whole speech, read the paragraph that starts, "It is now our generation's task to carry on what those pioneers began." He used that "for our journey construction" repeatedly in there, and that sort of outlining the progressive vision of this country.
Well, and then very quickly, what does this say about how he might run his second term then? Any different thoughts after hearing this speech?
I'll go quickly and leave it to David. I think we've already seen indications of what he will do differently. On fiscal cliff, essentially saying, I campaigned on this, I won on this, we are going to raise taxes on some of the wealthiest Americans. On debt ceiling, saying, I will not bargain on this. Now, he has won both of those fights. Much more confrontational and much less willing to negotiate downward than he was on things like extending the Bush tax cuts, health care, even an economic stimulus package.
Last word, David?
I think that's right. The message was, I'm president, deal with it. I thought there was in this speech an acceptance that we're a divided country. He doesn't want name calling, but he explicitly said we're not going to solve our divisions. And he said, as Chris pointed out, item by item, he affirmed his basic agenda, and I think people will wonder coming out of this speech whether we're in for a period now of trench warfare.
David, Chris, thank you both very much.
Thank you.